people think it needs to be this huge time frame, because so often people think it takes 20 years to retire from property. It's definitely not that time frame. You and I both know what's possible in a 5, 7, 10 year time frame. In 12 months, I barely signed a client on in like 12 months, and I was almost ready to hang up the towel. I was a high school dropout. I was a laborer on a farm, and then we've built this beast. And you look at it now, one of the biggest buyers agencies in Australia. I mean, I just got to a point where I was at 130 something properties. I went and saw this house, and then made the decision to buy it the next day. It's 15 and a half years of investing. It's not 3 years, it's not 1 year, it's not 5 years, it's not 10 years. And it was just another way to, I think, reward myself along the journey. Rent vesting strategy is what enabled me to buy this home. That's probably the biggest point to remember. And I've interviewed Olympic gold medalists, business owners, top 0.001% of business owners in Australia. When I always ask them at the end, what do you think is the defining character trait of the top 1%? Grit and the perseverance, every single one of them. It all takes commitment and it all takes time. The momentum can really shift in a month, 6 months, 12, 24 months, if you really commit to it.
G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Australian Property Investment Podcast. We're in for a real treat today. Every time anyone comes into contact with the hurricane, Sam Gordon, mate, life isn't the same. You come in, you kind of nudge a few people. That's exactly it, and that's what you do. And I think you do that exceptionally well, which is why I'm pumped for today's chat. So, mate, thank you very much for making the time. I know you're a busy lad.
Aaron, mate, it's always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me back.
Dude, thank you, mate. And mate, I got to say, like, even if I didn't have all these lists of questions, we could literally just have a chat about everything that you're doing, everything your team's doing, where the market's headed, just because I know you got your finger on the pulse on a lot of things. But mate, personally, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Yeah, man, it's been a crazy, we were kind of chatting offline. I didn't go into specifics, but we were chatting offline about the start of this year. And there's been a lot going on, man. I've been a massive advocate of rent vesting forever. I literally just bought my primary residence as well.
Gonna hit you up. I didn't put this in the text here. I was gonna hijack you on this one.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's a funny thing, man, because I'm a massive advocate of rent vesting. But I'm a massive advocate of rent vesting if you can't afford to buy your dream home. But then when you got the ability and you find the dream home, I'm always, and if you've already built the portfolio out first, then I'm an advocate of buying the primary residence as well. But I think so many people get so caught up on buying the primary residence through the journey, and it's such an anchor to really being able to build a big portfolio. And yeah, man, I just got to a point where I was at 130 something properties. I went and saw this house, and it was a crazy story because I saw it 24 hours before. Then made the decision to buy it the next day.
True Sammy Gordon fashion,
mate. 100%.
On a bloody whim, mate.
100%, man. And then yeah, man, and then I took it out, and it was funny. I had a chat with Jimmy, my co-host on Scouting Australia, after we went and saw the house. And he's like, mate, you go from 130 to 200, or you go from 130 odd back to 100, and then be able to buy this thing, with a 50% deposit on the size of this thing, and your portfolio takes care of the repayments. He's like, what's the quality of life going to be like getting to 200 versus back to 100 and owning this thing? And just kind of like flicked a switch in my mind. And then I went to the auction next day, like not 100% sure if I was going to. And then as soon as I went back through it again, I was like, this thing's ridiculous. So, so yeah, man. So then I took that out, and it's been a crazy few weeks, because that was probably 3 weeks ago, and then, or maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, it would have been 3 weeks ago. And then a week after that, I picked up my dream car as well, which I was hunting for years. Thank you, man. Thank you. And then, yeah, man, it's been a crazy, tumultuous, like you say, I'm a whirlwind when I come in. Man, it's been a whirlwind of a first 5 months now of 2025.
Man, I love seeing people do well.
Thank you, man.
Honestly,
I appreciate it.
Honestly, I love seeing people do well.
Same to you, man. You're killing it as well.
Oh, look, mate, I think effort's one part, and then playing the long game's the second part.
Effort, execution, and the long game, for sure.
Well said. But I don't expect you to justify it in any way, because you've been a massive fan, advocate for rent vesting. People go, Sammy, what's going on here? You changed your tune, for example. I don't think, like I said, I don't think you need to justify it, but it's more just to say, hey, look, my life is different to where it was 5 years ago, and I think you're allowed to change your mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And you said it before. I was talking to you before.
Yeah.
The commercial people listening, I was speaking about the journey. This commercial property has been the bane of my existence. We're in it. We're not in it. Now we're in it again. And I said to the team, I'm sorry, mate, I am allowed to change my mind.
100%.
And that's okay. I think it's an evolution in like where you are in life, and not to just, you don't owe it to anyone.
Yeah.
But man, I'm allowed to make my own decisions.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dude, I think the thing that a lot of people forget with myself is I've been investing for 15 and a half years now. 15 and a half years, you know what I mean? Like almost every person listening to this podcast, if they want to own their primary residence and they're willing to give themselves a 15-year time frame to build a significant portfolio, be able to sell down, and it doesn't need to be as like mine's a monstrosity, right? But I've been doing it for a long time, and it's my passion and my profession. So like regardless of whether they build something that big or even 10, 20, 30, whatever it is that they want to build over that time frame, and then they get to the back end. And not to say that I'm at the back end, but I'm at a point where I could make that transition, and it wouldn't really affect me too much from that end as well. But the lifestyle change I'll be able to get out of it as well, I think, will actually add to my ability to continue to produce, both at Australian Property Scout and obviously within my own portfolio, and even just in life in general. So yeah, man, it was just a decision that I made. Of, again, it's 15 and a half years of investing. It's not 3 years, it's not 1 year, it's not 5 years, it's not 10 years. Like, it's a decade and a half of investing and going hard. And yeah, man, it was just another way to, I think, reward myself along the journey. And again, I assessed everything. I spoke to my broker. I was going through a sell down anyway, but I was going to go through a sell down to buy a couple of like 10, 20 mil commercial deals. So instead I just kind of switched the tactic and go, well, yes, maybe they'll add a little bit to lifestyle from an income perspective. But what about from an actual life perspective of what I want to move into? Because the other thing as well is you can very easily rent a home that's worth, $2 to $5 to $7, $8 million, right? As soon as you start going over 10 mil, trophy homes, you can't rent them. Like, they don't actually get rented. So like, for most people on a rent vesting journey, that $2-5 million home, which is still an amazing home, it's actually, and the yields on them are so low, so it makes so much sense to rent that style of property. Once you start going beyond that, that's where they're just so hard to ever actually be able to get to rent. And that's what I found. I'd been looking for a while because the lease was coming up on the place I was in, which is probably worth about 5 mil. And then I saw this place, and like, everyone had sent it to me going, man, look at this place. Morgs had sent it to me like 5 weeks before the auction. I'd looked at it and it'd been in my saves. And yeah, man. And I was just like, no, you know what? I'm gonna make that decision. So there's like, I think most people have that long-term vision of buying a primary residence, but you got to keep it in that long-term vision of, we build the portfolio first, and you can build the portfolio towards being able to justify and actually be able to purchase that primary residence with a massive cash deposit. Correct. Which is what I'm doing. And yeah, man, it was just a pivot that I decided to make, and no, I'm happy with it, man. And I still massively believe in a rent vesting strategy. Rent vesting strategy is what enabled me to buy this home. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest point to remember.
Yeah, they'll take out a semi who's gone and bought his own rock. Not realizing that it was the intention to get there. Just took you 15 years to do it.
For sure, man.
And
the right property.
Yeah, the right property at the right time. And the car.
Well, man, the car was a long time coming. I first saw these about 3 years ago. So it's a Ferrari SF90, right? Congrats, man. Thank you, man. Spider. And I saw it about 3 years ago. Yeah. I could have bought it 3 years ago. I could have bought a secondhand one. You have to have bought like 5 Ferraris brand new. So I couldn't actually put an order in.
It's amazing how they do that, isn't it?
Yeah, man. It's great marketing. And then, yeah, man, I kind of leveled my way up through cars, because I also didn't want to buy like the pinnacle and not have anything to go into. So I had a different Ferrari, and then which I've still got, and then I bought the Lambo. It was funny because when I bought the STO, the Lambo, I bought that in September last year, and I'd been chasing a cancelled order in an SF90 for about over 18 months, 12, 18 months. And then I bought it in September last year, frothed, and I was like, I'm done for a while. And then, because I didn't think I was going to be able to cancel the order, everyone told me I wasn't going to be able to get one. And then I was fortunate that I'd built a good relationship with the GM of Ferrari Queensland. Yeah. And he called me. So I bought it in like the end of September, and he called me like 2 weeks later at the start of October going, man, you won't believe it, but I just had a cancelled order, and it's almost the exact spec you want. Wow. And yeah, it was still like 6-9 months away. That was October last year. I just picked it up a couple of weeks ago in May. So yeah, man, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, crazy couple of months. That's for sure.
Imagine, mate. I think this was happening when talk about abundance mindset, whatever it is, like law of attraction, however you want to kind of wrap it up. There's so much that comes into this, Sam, which is like, I don't get this vibe from you. It's luck. It's like, hey man, I made my own luck, and I'll get here through like perseverance and making some mad hard decisions. And it's like, if I can do it, I think that's one thing about you. It's like, if I can do it, other people can do it as well.
For sure.
I really like that about you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, man. I think it's funny, like people have like vision boards, and like vision boards are cool, but like I have a goal setting board and at the start and end of every year, and I reset it every 6 months because of financial year and then end of calendar year. So I'm always resetting it. But it was on my board at the at the end of 2023 going into 2024 goals was buying the SF90 if I hit my goals. Yeah. And so if I got to the end of the year and I couldn't get a cancelled order, I was just going to buy the secondhand one, because you normally get one a year, 2 2 years old with a couple of thousand Ks on them. But yeah, man, I think putting it on there, I read my boards every day because they're my goal setting boards. So, and I break down my goals into what I need to do. So I'm always analyzing what I actually need to do to achieve my targets that I set. Yeah. But then at the bottom corner is I always have my 3 goals for the year, which are big goals. And it was there. So I literally read it almost every single day. Go in the office, read it every single day. And you talk about law of attraction, man, like understanding the process of what you need to do, continually reiterating it, but then having what you're going to get at the back end of it as well. It's man, I think it's a massive needle mover to achieving it. And it's always at different levels. Okay, we're talking about over $1 million car, but it could be like little wins for people on the way through, regardless of where they are in their journey, that might just keep them satisfied as they're going through their accumulation phase, where they do need to be more stringent. But the cool thing is the bigger that this gets, you know this personally, the bigger that this gets, the more that it snowballs, the more that you understand it, learn about it, educate it, the more that those goals can start getting a little bit bigger. And maybe you have it in there as like the little box at the end. You have your annual goals, but then maybe you have your 3 or your 5 year goal that is something like a Ferrari or a dream PPOR or whatever it is. Tangible timeframes with tangible goals in there actually keep you accountable to moving towards it. And when times get tough and when times get rough, which they always do, whether it's personally, business, career, portfolio, you're always going to cop shit. That stuff and seeing it and reading it every single day, it keeps you. It's like that northern star of this is what I'm working towards. Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm a massive believer in it.
Big time. Echo every sentiment you've got there. That's it. I think when you have that desire in you, you can't extinguish that flame, even if it's like things hit the fan. Like I think we said before, just come at me.
Yeah,
come at me. Damien and I, in my business, we just said, eat glass. Just eat glass. And who can eat glass the longest will survive. Who can get knocked down, get up again, 100%. Will survive. That's the game. Even like you, and I want to talk about the 1% property. You know what happened, Sam? At the summit last year, always this is what I say, you have this habit of like unlocking something in me. You were talking last year at the summit, and I wrote down to Bernie, I said 1%. I said 1%.
Yep.
1% body, 1% property investor, 1% in mortgage broking, 1% income in Australia. I said, I want to be in this 1% club.
Yeah, right. The top 1%.
Top 1%.
Yeah.
And Bernie was there. I was like, 1%. And I flicked this little post-it note to her, and she's like, love it. And then you go and create this 1% podcast. I was like, dude, I love it.
Thank you, man.
Just because, hey, man, my parents came from Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And within in the 80s, and in one generation, I can put myself in the top 1% of property investors, top 1% of mortgage brokers, top 1% of income earners. You just keep going through this list. Yeah. And you're like, I can do that literally within the space of like 15, 20 years of like being an adult in this country. No offense, but what's your excuse? You get to that point going, hey man, if you can do it, I can do it. People can do it. What's the excuse? And it's like, is it the story that people are telling? So kind of give this back to you. You speak to all these amazing people on the 1% podcast. What are some common themes that are coming out? You obviously get some mad nuggets out of this being, running it as well.
Man, one of the big things I'll say is you said like 15 to 20 years there of being an adult, right? One thing that I would peel back and probably like semi-challenge you a little bit on this is, and I know you'll agree with this when I say it, is 15 to 20 years can be like a time frame of where something significant can be built, right? But man, it's like, what can you change within yourself in like a 15 to 20 month time frame, like in terms of like completely rewire yourself and take yourself to a different level? If I look at myself when I started the buyer's agency, man, I was a fucking laborer. Like I was a laborer on a farm. And in 12 months, like of eating, we talk about eating glass, dude, I barely signed a client on in like 12 months. And I was almost ready to hang up the towel. And you look at it now, crazy. One of the biggest buyers agencies in Australia, in my opinion, the most reputable, the highest quality of deals, everything that we built out. Dude, I was a laborer. I was a high school dropout, no trade, no uni degree, no corporate background. And then we've built this beast, which is built around like the highest moral compass and the highest deal quality in the world, or in the country. And mate, if we talk about an 18-month turnaround time frame of the shift of laborer to the trajectory that started. Now, yes, I'm not where I am now. And again, we talk about a 15, 20-year time frame. I'm 6.5 years into the business now. But that 18 months, that 12 to 18 month window to get there, and it doesn't necessarily need to be this or business or whatever it is, but it's you commit to something properly and you don't give up. And that was the thing at like 9 to 10 months in, I was like, maybe I'll go back, maybe I'll get my mature age apprenticeship, maybe I'll get my builder's license and then start developing my own projects. And like, that's where my mind was going, because I was sort of getting to the point of like, I don't know how to make this thing work. But I was like, no, I'm going to double down on this thing. I'm going to give it one last proper push.
Yeah.
And I did. And now you look at where it is now. And that's why like I challenge it a little bit on the sense of people think it needs to be this huge time frame. And you got to remember as well, I was 10 years into my portfolio at the time, or 8-9 years into my portfolio at the time. I had a 20 property portfolio. So I was a proven commodity as an investor. But all the rest of it, man, like you can be amazing at one. It's like you could be an amazing sportsman, right? Like you could be a professional athlete. Transfer a professional athlete into business owner or into a coach or something like that. It's not 100% strike rate. Like it's a completely different thing. But how much can you commit? Like how much glass are you willing to chew and eat and and get out the back end? How much are you willing to go through and how long are you willing to do it for to achieve it? And that goes from everything you were talking about before, the top 1% of, it could be physique, portfolio, everything. It all takes commitment and it all takes time. But I think the cool thing is the momentum can really shift in a month, 6 months, 12, 24 months, whatever it is, if you really commit to it. But the huge result does obviously come after that time frame as well. So that's just the first thing I really wanted to sort of say there as well, just to kind of remind people that it doesn't need to be, because so often people think it takes 20 years to retire from property. Like it's not. It's definitely not that time frame. You and I both know what's possible in a 5, 7, 10 year time frame if you commit to it.
Mate, if you commit, I think that's probably where the biggest, and I was going to come back to the top 1% of property investors and what they're doing it, right? That's what it is, mate. It's just this ability to commit to one thing and not get distracted by it. I'll see it in our industry all the time, brokers, and suddenly they're like gone off and created this other arm of their business. And suddenly they've gone off and created this training module. It's like, you and I spoke, you're like, mate, why don't you go and train brokers? I was like, I tried it. Brokers listen to this, right?
Yeah. I
was like, mate, first of all, they won't pay for shit. Second, they won't do it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, I'm going to do it in my own backyard. So build the team out. And it's, man, you got to want it. You got to want it. So you can have this time horizon. You actually have to want it bad enough that everything in your life revolves around it. And the amount of times you see people out of shape, you're like, dude, you could be in shape very quickly if you tried. Just get some shoes on, go hit the pavement and walk. Yeah. And you can walk yourself into a better physique, for example, 100%. Instead of like doing something dramatic, right? And I think that sometimes that shortcut, people are just like, look, time horizons by shortening down isn't taking shortcuts, it's just becoming laser damn focused in what you want. You hold your team to that level of account, you hold yourself to that level of account and going, I want it bad enough as well.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that, mate. If we go back to the top 1% podcast and your question before, I love that you say that because, man, probably the biggest things that I see in these guys and girls in achieving that top 1% status, right? And I've interviewed Olympic gold medalists, world champion athletes, business owners in the top 0.001% of business owners in Australia, man, everything in between, man, and grit and perseverance. So we talk about what we're talking about before, eating glass and just pushing through. Man, the grit and the perseverance, every single one of them. Every single one of them. And when I always ask them at the end, what do you think is the defining character trait of the top 1%? It's almost always an iteration of that. It may be grit, it may be perseverance, it may, all those sorts of things. It all revolves around that exact same thing. And then the other thing that you always see in them as well, and whether they discuss it or something that they talk about, again, is an iteration of this. It's that laser focus, because man, everyone loves to look for the next shiny thing to go and chase, and it's the same as property investors. And I did this as well, man. I would do a deal and I'd buy it below market, and then I'd renovate and I'd get a great result, but then I want to go do a dev and I'll go develop and I'll be out of the market for 18 months. I'll be like, it was time out of the market, and then I come back and I do a couple of renos and a couple of deals, and all of a sudden I'm on the roll again. And then I get, I see this block that I know I can do a little chop on and then build these 2 homes and make X amount. But then like, how many deals did I miss out on the meantime? And I would do it. And then you learn from these things, and you learn that you have to be hyper focused. And man, so often it's just like, how do I hyper focus on the one thing that I know is going to give me an unbelievable result, to then get that unbelievable result? Because as soon as you start to detour and you just don't become a master, It's a jack of all trades rather than a master of none, right? One of the oldest sayings in the book. But the more that you hyper focus on one of these things and push through with the grit and the perseverance and apply that combined and then educate yourself on top. Again, we look at all these other guys and girls and what they've achieved. I know I'll bring one example out of it from an athlete perspective. So Saya Sakakibara, who won the Olympic gold medal in Paris last year. Man, she was a good enough BMX racer that she should have been winning gold, but she would always choke in the finals. She'd win all the lead up to it, and then she'd choke in the finals. And it was mental. And she realized she needed to bring someone in, and she did that to change around it, to change that psyche and to overcome and get past those mental barriers to then be able to go to the next level. And man, she dominated that gold medal race in Paris. She won by it was like 8 bike lengths or something. She absolutely dominated it. And she won the world championships a year before it as well, because she just realized she needed to get past that piece. And I think so many people overlook the education piece that is so necessary to become the best. And they're like, oh no, I don't want to spend this or that. It's not what something's going to cost you. It's what it's going to make you, And so, man, I think like all these guys and girls that I've spoken to, they've realized they needed that external influence to be able to go to the next level. And they understand that they need to hyper focus on it and saturate themselves with as much information, education to hone in on one thing to then dominate it.
Nicely said. I did listen to the one with Jack because I love Jack and what he's done with the entourage, right? And in there, and this can relate to a team, but also can relate to anything in life. Like when the going gets tough, like people expect life just to be easy. Like this is what a good life is. And so it gets tough. And I've said this to the team, you can see it. When the going gets tough, they either get going or they'll stand up. And same can be said in investing. As soon as it gets tough, had a bad tenant, that's it. Investing's not for me. I'm like, that's all it took. That's all it took for you to then cash in your chips and up and leave. It's like, man, like when the going gets, I find it's a real test of character and it reveals character at that point. Like when you said before, mate, things are, the business is getting bigger and bigger, but the challenges are getting bigger and bigger. And two people like side by side, one will come at me and the other one's like, this isn't for me. And you get
or scale down or they'll exit. Or
totally.
Whatever.
And I think you got to go through those inflection points in your journey to go, what am I truly made of a little bit as well? But I think that also comes down to the people you're surrounding yourself with, whether that's your professional team, whether it's your actual team, whether it's just your mindset and your solo. But take me through like how have you had to kind of galvanize? Because if I bring it to you, Sammy, like the Australian Property Scout journey, that's a roller coaster in terms of that mammoth growth. And no doubt with growth comes a certain amount of challenge, like where it was, where it is, where it's coming. How have you handled personally?
Man, I think to take one step back just for 1 second about the investor. And I think what I love to always remind people of, right, is people will sit in a job for 40 to 50 hours a week for 50 hours of a year, right? So 2,000 hours a year. I think that's correct. I don't know. Maybe I'm off, something like that, roughly, to make 100 grand a year or 150, 200 grand a year, right? Whatever it is. But they have one thing pop up with a tenancy, or they have one issue with an insurance claim, or they have one loan declined, or they have this one little setback and they let it rock them. And I'm just like, and I've been through a lot of stuff in my portfolio, right? So I think I've just, the hardships being created over that time frame. But I'm like, the correct asset in the portfolio will make you $100,000 growth in a year, if not more.
You guys have done that with one of our properties, mate.
100%. You know what I mean? So like, if not more, like, and I think like whether it's 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever it is in a year, you have 2 of the 50 grands, which is a pretty average performance in my mind in a 12-month window of a 500 grand asset. You have 2 of those in the portfolio, you're making 100 grand a year. And you've just bought it and acquired it. And you have people whinging about loan docs. And you're like, man, you're whinging about loan docs that's going to take an hour out of your time. And in 12 months' time, you're going to make $50,000 or $100,000. Like, how many hours are you at your job every single week of every single year, every month of every year that you don't actually enjoy to then make this just ticking away in the background? So you might do 20 hours of work in the initial to acquire this asset and maybe an hour a month or whatever to manage it. And it blows my mind. I think people need to really put into perspective. And that's why I think they need to have that North Star of what they're working towards. So they can just remember, like, and even right in there as well, I'm working 40, 50 hours a week to make the same as what a single, like let's say 1 or 2 properties will produce me in capital growth as well. So, man, I think that's in my mind, that's the easiest way for people to not ego check it. It's pressure probably like pressure tested against what I'm actually doing, like what the realities are of the day to day to make this amount versus what these are making me passively. And they've also got to realize that the bandwidth, like that elastic band in your mind, becomes stronger. Like it becomes probably looser actually. The more that you do this, the more that the band expands and the stronger that you become with it as well. Yeah. But you just got to get through those first couple of properties, because I remember, the first few, man, it's always tough. It's always hard, but it's a shock, you know what I mean, to the system of these things happening. But it's something you've got to embrace and grow from, and learn that it's just accept it as part of the process, and that's how you're going to get the result.
Correct. Say, for example, in our industry, one of the big brokers when I started, he's like, mate, it's easier to write 200 mil than 50 mil. I never understood it. And then you do it. It's like, the problems just get like, you stop sweating the small stuff. You go, there's so much bigger stuff out there. And you lose stuff along the way. It's like, that's cool. It's just part of the journey. And when the pie gets bigger, there's more to eat. There's more to enjoy. It's like, okay, when it's small like this, you're sweating on every little detail. For sure. 2-3 properties, a 1 month vacancy is really going to hurt you across a larger portfolio. It's like, next, give me the next problem. One property manager, next problem. Like, just fix it. Dishwasher. Don't worry about it. Keep moving on. And
for sure, I
think you don't get so like hung up on the minute that it just takes you off course. For example, like you said, the loan docs are my favorite thing. People hear me like, boo, you got to go to like a lawyer, like a solicitor, and get independent legal advice for your 5th property. Like, come at me, you know?
Oh man. But to answer your question around the APS.
Yeah. Thanks.
Man, I think it's very similar. The growing pains when you're early and you're smaller and everyone has access to you, is real. Like the most painful years I probably had in the business were the first year was just painful because I just couldn't get a client, and I didn't know how to sell, man. I'm not a salesman. Very straight shooting individual. Like I said, didn't come from any of that corporate or any of that sort of background. So it was very, very new to me. So the first year was hard, but then the second year you're just dealing with growing pains just learning how to grow a business properly or run a business properly. Then years 3 and 4, you're learning how to actually grow and scale a business. But then, man, I think you get to a certain point where it clicks, and it did for me anyway. It clicks, and I really understood and started to actually thrive in the process of growing a business. And I started taking a lot away from that. And it's funny, like whenever I've hired people, I've always really wanted to see them succeed. And it's almost weird that people, like, they say it, but like you'll hear people say it, oh yeah, we really want to see you do this, do that, whatever. But then like they don't help put them on the pathway to do it. And so for us, and the culture within APS is we want every staff member to be every member of the team. We want them to be investors. Yeah. And we actually actively help them get into that position to be able to buy. Yeah, exactly, man. You've seen it firsthand. And yeah, man. So it's like, I don't know, like the longer that I've done it and the more iterations we've gone through the business, the more that we've refined and optimized and built like that, man, the more that I've actually grown to love it. And it's a funny thing because now I've got bolt-ons of businesses on APS as well. And things are humming really nicely, man. But I don't know, it's one of those things that the roller coaster is real early. Like it is real early in the journey. But then I found as I went further in and built different layers and levels within the business too, it just became a lot clearer and a lot easier to actually build it properly. Yeah. And then it comes to a point where you just need to really understand, or it came to a point for us, we need to really understand where we turned the lead flow on and off. No one would have ever seen an ad from Australian Property Scout ever, because I've never paid for paid advertising ever. We have so much repeat and referred business, from obviously super happy clients and clients that have had massive wins and they're coming back through. So for us, it's probably the biggest issue we've had in the last like 12 to 24 months is understanding when we need to turn the new client flow off. Which
it's got to be says something to you internally where it's like, 100%. I mean, we're close for business. That goes against the grain,
dude. So we've as of time of recording, we've had our books closed for 2.5 months.
That's crazy.
Of new clients.
That's crazy.
But it's because we know
I still get clients going, mate, can you give Sam a call, please?
And man, it's good. Like obviously there'll be times where we sort of reopen and it's not too far away where we reopen, but we're just going to have it at a more controlled sort of amount that we allow in. But the really cool thing now, man, is like it's people that are we only want to bring people in to the APS ecosystem that are super aligned with us and that we think we're going to work really well with. We don't want to deal with punishers, man. We don't want to deal with people that are, jumping between BAs. Like, that's not for us. Like, we want to work with people and get them on a stage in 2030 and retire them, or, get them well on their journey in that time frame as well. We don't want the, I'm going to try this person, whatever. We want people who want to commit to what we're trying to help people build, because I'm just not interested in the tick and flick, because that's not, like, I think when you see people advertising all the time everywhere, they're a tick and flick business. They're paying huge amounts of money to get people in just to get a deal done and get them moving. And that's just, I've never been like that. Yeah. I've experienced that myself as a client when I was 26, 27, when I got burnt by a very well-known BA as well. And yeah, man, I had to work away from 10 grand, BA fee when I was making 70 grand.
10 grand you would have spent though, man.
It's the best lesson. 100%. 100%.
I've lost a lot of money to people. I'm like, best money, put it down to education. For sure. And learn.
Exactly. That's it, man. It's a lesson. Loss is only a loss if you don't learn from it. If you learn from it, it's a lesson. It just might be an expensive lesson.
Yeah. Hey, mate, coming back to your point around team.
Yes.
I love this because I'll sit down with the team and they almost question your agenda when I'm like, hey, mate, show me what you're doing financially. And like, what are you talking about? It's like, on my watch, man, you're going to leave it here richer than you possibly could imagine. And the first few times they don't understand, they're freaking out, going, what are you talking about? This is a little bit uncomfortable. Like, we're doing it for clients.
Yeah.
On my watch, we should be doing it for our team. Got to buy property, got to bolster your savings, for example. Where are you trying to get to? It's exactly what you guys do, I feel like, internally as well. It's like, on our watch, we're making our clients wealthy. Why aren't we doing it for our own team? Like, you're buying into the vision and the mission. And I'd say that to people coming in. I was like, you'd be hard pressed to find an employer in Australia that's going, how do I build your wealth position as opposed to here's a paycheck, trade your hours for dollars, and I won't take care of you any more than that. In fact, I want to take as much as I can from you and give you as little value as possible. And it's such a mindset shift. I think even for like an employee or a team member to come in,
of course.
But you and I is going, man, rising tide. Like, I want everyone to win in this game as well.
The other really cool thing, man, I agree with you completely. I love that because that's my exact vision as well, and that's what I want all our guys and girls to do internally within the business. The other really cool thing though is I realized that they also then are super relatable to the clients. Yeah. And that's why so often I actually like to hire out of our client base, because they understand the way that we like to do business. Yeah. And I found when I hire people outside of that, they don't come in with the same moral compass that they know that we operate by. And it's nothing bad. It's just like they know the way that we like to operate. Yeah. And I think that carries huge volume with clients and dealing with them. And then they're like, almost every staff member's bought a deal through APS, whether it was before or once they're internal, and they understand the process. So when they understand the process, they can, or what they maybe did or didn't like about it. Obviously, we always try and get feedback when we can of anything we don't like about it or people don't like about it, so we can reiterate and become the best versions. But then they understand how that client's feeling as well. And so, like, obviously we're not going to try and, sweep anything under the rug or hide anything as well, because I'm always saying, well, put yourself in that client's shoes like you've done before. Would you want that done? Would you want that done back to yourself too? And that's why I love having an investor-centric business, the same as yourself, is because they understand the piece and the process behind it and what they're really trying to help people with as well. Man, we're all so committed to the vision, obviously, of retiring 500 investors by 2030. We're massively committed to it, and we're well on our way to achieving it as well. Yeah. And you only do that with like a company, a full cultural vision towards achieving that for every client, every staff member as well. So every member of the team.
Now, this is what I talk about, like the strategic side in building out a team.
For sure.
It blows me away. And it just, every time I get on a call with a new client, I was like, they said what? And probably a bit like you, this vein starts to pop out from here. Like, the team, like, he's going to blow. And I had one yesterday. The accountant said, look, you shouldn't be buying an SMSF. You're single. I was like,
what?
I was like, give me this accountant's number. And I'm blowing up like the Hulk. And I'll hear,
you're about the size of the Hulk.
Oh, no, mate, look at you, mate. You're buddy eating a cow for breakfast, mate. But I think you and I, like, I don't know if it's this superhero comments, but we want to help everyone. Yeah. And it's like, not that all, there's some awesome brokers. I get to hang out with top tier brokers. Sure. I know we all sing from the same hymn sheet, but there's this damn long tail. And I'm like, just leave the industry. Do me a favor, leave the industry because you're doing a disservice. Or just do home loans, just do primary residence loans and leave the investment space. Here we go.
To the people who actually want to help people in the investment space.
Correct. And that's the stuff that kills me. So it's not only the broker side, it's the accountant side, the BA side. And it's like, I mean, you guys are saying,
Don't get me started on
where,
the VA side,
oh,
please.
mate, I am going to get you started.
Here we go. We're talking about some veins popping.
Totally. And look, I mean, you guys are shut for business. So there's only so many people you can help.
Yeah.
In it, and that's the same thing. The team told me that, man, there's only so many hours you got in the day. There's only so many hours we have in the week as a team to help. And we're all bursting at the seams. And it's like, hey, man, we're talking about a 10-year horizon. And it almost sounds contrary that would say, hey, speed that up to like a 1-year horizon and try and move as quickly as possible. So there's a slight paradox that comes with that going, move fast, move quick, but then also, hey, have this long-term vision around building a 15-year portfolio. I will say you will only rise to the standard of your team. Full stop. Don't say, but my mate's a broker or the BA, you know, they're one-on-one. So I feel like they're intimate and boutique and they're too, you know, APS is too big. I was like, mate, I don't know. There's a strength in numbers. There's a power in the community. So there's a question in here somewhere, which is how do you gracefully exit a relationship that you've got there? How do you then, you say, look, I've paid them X dollars and I'm happy to write that off as learnings, for example. How do I feel like I'm in a bigger business, which isn't boutique-y hand holding, but just going, man, these people they know what they're doing. They know their stuff. Like, how do you have this conversation?
I'll answer one part of that question first. And I think the easiest way to do it is not even to bring anyone else into the equation, to talk about myself. When I was in my first, second, third year of business, probably first and second year of business, I was good. I had built myself, I won Investor of the Year, right? So I knew what I was doing. I built myself a good portfolio. I bought that same caliber of quality deals for clients. I bought them in the right location. So all those deals would have doubled or 150x. Some of those deals would have been 200x now, right? Like tripled in value. We are so much better now than we were back then. It is ridiculous. Yeah. I understand the process so much more of how to select growth locations. Man, there's just so many iterations that have become so much better. And you think you're going to get, like with a one-on-one hand holding, you're going to get a better service. But at the end of the day, that person is probably going to be swamped. You know what I mean? Like there's something about it, and I understand where someone may think that boutique-y. And the thing is, man, we still run APS like a boutique organization. We still want one-on-one, you know, relationships. We still want the hand-holding, but it just doesn't need to be with me, for one. Like that is obviously never going to happen at the level that we've grown to now. But it's how do you have other people who are investors, who understand it, who are also well beyond the top 1% of property investors in Australia that can guide you through. And then for us, like, and I personally am super involved with training the next, or training the current level of BAs that we have in there as well, and constantly refining, honing them, you know, and the level of the deals we get now are ridiculous. Like I've always sourced good deals, but I only believe it's getting better and better and better. And we're only getting better and better, learning more strategies, you know, picking apart different markets, all the rest of the thing, you know, entering at different levels, different times. We built out research divisions, like everything, man, a full strategy team as well that gets trained by me every single week. They sit on my mentoring calls with my guys and learn exactly how I'm strategizing guys that are paying significant amount of money to be mentored one-on-one with me as well. And then they get to apply that to their clients' portfolios too. So, man, and this is a funny thing. And man, I quite simply, if someone doesn't want to work with us, I have no issues with it at all. If someone wants to work with someone else, that's fine. We want to work with people who want to work with us. Like I said, I want to work with anyone that wants to just trial us for a deal or whatever, man. We want to build your portfolio. And if you want to commit to someone that wants to commit to you to do it, not just a deal, oh, yep, deal. Right, the boutique guy, how big is his portfolio? How big did he build it? How much strategy does he actually understand within this thing? Because you got to understand the iteration that I've gone through from 19 years old buying my first property to 15 years on in the journey. And what you got to remember is someone may not be 19 and bought their first property, but they may be in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, who maybe have only bought a couple of deals. Right. How are they going to help you get where you're trying to go if they've never done it themselves? And if they've never done it on your income? And this is what I actually love about APS is, like, I built a 20 plus property portfolio making less than 100 grand a year. I've done it at all levels. I've helped everyone at all levels. And so what I love, man, is really assessing the business, what it was all the way at the start compared to where it is now. And just like, even though it was boutique and had the hand holding, had everyone one-on-one, all the rest of the stuff, the level and how much better it is now, like that's what excites me. That's what juices me up, because we can actually help so many more people do more deals, build better portfolios, just get further faster, you know? So yeah, man, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's exactly the sentiment, Sam. That's exactly the energy. That's why I love having you on here, man. Because when people are listening, I'm like, give yourself that uppercut, you know, like the broker's nice. Like some people are like, the broker's nice. I'm like, yeah. Nice doesn't grow a portfolio. I'm sorry. And clients may outgrow. I mean, Jake used to be one of our clients.
Yeah, I remember.
I tell you, mate. Nate and I sat there one day, and we got the notice that Jake discharged his loan, and we sat there and we said, "What happened on our watch that he had to go to another broker?" That was the turning point.
Yeah,
I said, "We think we were good. We had a few awards and stuff like that. Cool, mate. Whatever." Something happened, and I know it's a turning point for us as a business. That was like, someone else has been able to do what we can't do. You either get better or you get better. I'm like, let's get better off the back of this. Let's figure out how to do it. And exactly to your point, when you have a bigger team, more eyes are looking at it, more brains are coming at it, more hours in the day, better perspectives. And I say the team now, I'm like, we've got some real heads. I'm like, man, I'm grateful that you guys are paying you good dollars to be here because you're attacking this problem that I had a blind spot. I couldn't see it. The other part with clout is that you guys will get better buying opportunities because you come in APS. It's like, man, agents be frothing. There's guaranteed deals here. There's clout that comes with the name. Even for us, like some of the banks will reach out. They'll do 1 day turnaround. Like they'll put us on like platinum, elite, whatever it is. It's like they'll do stuff that they won't allow other brokers to do. I'm like, that's obviously not a flex. It's going, but that's what happens with proven relationships. Persistence, quality, like that
becomes a proven commodity.
Correct. And that comes with then an outcome for clients going,
for sure.
Hey, man, that's a seal of approval that agents are giving you guys, clients, banks are giving us to go, you may not get access to me like you used to, but the quality, the caliber of the team still holds the same vision and values and standards.
There's so much power there, man. Like I couldn't say the amount of times that BAs, like buyers agents in the business, have come to me or send me screenshots of their agent relation. Their agents that have great relationships and going, oh man, I just listened to this latest podcast. I love this. Like they're fans, man. You know what I mean? They become fans and then they build great relationships with them as well. And like the access to deals that come with that too, man. It's exactly the same as, I think the word, it sounded like you were sort of almost chasing there, like the power that comes with getting to the level that the two of our businesses have sort of gotten. Yourself obviously with the banks, and then us obviously with agents and coming in different areas and everything as well. They understand it's and I say power in the sense of like they understand that you're a proven commodity and that you're not just all talk. And the power that comes alongside that and the opportunities that come alongside that, like yourself with the different levels of the platinum and everything that just comes in 1 day turnarounds, all this sort of stuff. And then for us, agents just understanding these guys are legit. They're going to close deals. And okay, there's a few things we might have to sacrifice a little on our ends. We always love a discount, off market deals, discount, all that sort of stuff, what we're always chasing. But in return, we know it's qualified buyers, qualified deals, it's always going to go through. So man, I think there's huge power in that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using that word. I think it's a dirty word. I think it's been earned over a long period of time and many iterations like we're talking about. The question you asked earlier around like, how do you part ways with someone who is, who maybe you've had a relationship with or done really well? Man, I struggled with this a lot as well very early in my journey. The first time came when I had to leave my current account. Oh, actually, I kind of went through a fair few brokers first before I found the broker that I've been working with for many years. Who I've got a lot of loyalty to.
Your broker's incredible. I think we all respect what your brokers.
For sure. And like, I've just been working.
Mate, take on your portfolio. It's almost like you need your own personal bloody broker.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And it was cool because through them, I found my accountant. And the accountant was the one that I held on to for a long time, just because it was a family accountant and I thought she was good. But as I went through the different brokers, I always just gave them a call and I just said, hey, and I was a very low income earner. So like there was a lot of brokers that were just like, you've tapped out at this. And then I'd try and find someone else and they'd be like, I'd get a couple more deals like, you tapped out at this. And then you get to someone, they'd get you 4 more. And then, no, you tapped out at this point. And then obviously I found who I'm with now. And they just took me to a different level and opened the door and showed me how to do it. But I was so hesitant to jump accountants, which also you find a super qualified accountant that knows what they're doing and super property centric. They can also show you how to go to the next level. But I didn't want to leave the current accountant that I was with because it was a family account. I'd used them for like 10 years for all my other stuff. And to put it into perspective, the reason, like when I finally realized what had happened, I'd sold my first property in 2017. So I bought that in 2009, sold it in 2017, my little 2-bedroom unit in Wollongong that I renovated. And there was a thing around capital gains tax that I just luckily knew myself. The primary residence 6-year rule, right? Now that had transferred to a different property about 4 years into the ownership of it. But she was like, no, once you declare a different property as primary residence, then that can no longer be declared. And it was a $54,000 tax bill difference. 54 grand. I was making like 70, 80 grand a year. So net, I was netting
there,
67. It was almost my whole year's worth of bloody pay. And it was just lucky that I was consuming so much content. It was the magazines back in the day, API, Your Investment Property, all that sort of stuff. And I was consuming so much content that I just knew she was wrong. But then, man, I called around all these different accountants and everyone was verifying the same thing. I'm like, I don't know what to do here. And then the broker said to me, you need to speak to this accountant. And you obviously know who my accountant is very well. And I spoke to him and he's like, no, man, you're 100% right. Let me work it out. And within an hour, he came back to me and he's like, yeah, man. And I had it wrong. I thought it was about 48 or something. And he's like, no, it's 54 or something. And I'm like, I can literally vividly remember like the feeling through my body that sort of came, you know, when you kind of get that like drop, even though it's like, it was a good moment. I just had this like weird feeling that went through my body when I realized that I just not only saved 54 grand, I'd made 54 grand because a dollar saved is a dollar made.
Totally.
And having that wrong person, and I literally would have gone through half a dozen other accountants that agreed with her. And then you have a property specific accountant that knows their shit, knew immediately that person was wrong and had the answer and just said, I just need to work it out. Came back to me a half an hour later, said, yeah, man, it's going to be this amount that you're not going to pay.
Yeah.
It falls under this rule. We can run under this structure, whatever this process. Yeah, man. And I've used that exact same team for the last 8-9 years, you know, however long it's been since then. So at the end of the day, man, called the accountant. I said, thanks for everything. I said, and I literally just said, I know I kind of went backwards and forwards with you on this CGT thing. I found a property specific accountant that understood it the way that I thought it was supposed to be done. They've sent me the ruling in the section, whatever the hell it was that supports this. I think I've outgrown you as an accountant. Thanks for everything you've done to date, but I need to move on to someone else. And she was sweet. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Yeah. I'm so glad that you did, that we didn't put it through. She was completely understanding. I'd outgrown that person, and I think, and sorry to cut you off there, but I think people who are good people, like especially if you've known them for a long time and then you've outgrown them, it is what it is. We all outgrow people. And yeah, man, it is what it is, but you got to build that team. And in my mind, if you're trying to build a big portfolio, you need a super experienced property accountant, super experienced investment savvy broker, and you need a BA that's done what you're trying to do. You need that team without a doubt.
Be unapologetic about it, man. And that's exactly to your point. And I think both sides, there's a level of being graceful about it, right? So you
say graceful or brutal?
Graceful.
Okay.
Gracefully, but also brutal.
Gracefully brutal.
I love it. Let's wrap that up and get your head around that paradox. So your outgoing accountant goes, yeah, white flag. Yeah, I think you're right. And I'm sorry. And at that point, there's nothing you can do to salvage that relationship. It's done. Yeah. And the new accountant coming in, whether it's new accountant, broker, BA, is just going, we're not saying they're wrong. We're just saying we know our stuff. Yeah. And we can do it differently in this house as well. And that's probably where people get offside. It's like, you're wrong. And it's like, no, hang on. We just see the world through a different lens. We've got a different perspective, different experience. And this is why the grass is greener on this side as well. We're not perfect. Same thing for you guys. Not perfect, but I think we're the accelerator to get to that next level.
For sure.
And you got to take the good with the bad in any relationship, man.
Man, no one's perfect. No, there's no business that is perfect. There is never a deal. Like you're never going to do let's say you do 1,000 deals over a certain period of time. There is never going to be a 100% strike rate of everything being perfect. It is impossible. It is physically impossible. You know what I mean? So it's like, but we always cop everything on the chin and always take full ownership if we've stuffed something up. You probably have seen this with potentially something that's happened with us at some point in the past.
You just put your hand up and you go, man,
100%.
Not our best day.
Yeah.
Dude,
this is the thing, man. Like I think, what I love about us and sort of the business, the way we built it, and I know the way you built yours as well, like there's no ego around it. Like if there's something, I'm not just going to butt heads with someone. If they're right and we've stuffed up, we've always put our hand up. If something's been said and I don't believe we're wrong, then I'll always hold to that as well. But if I believe if we've stuffed something up or something's been missed or whatever, I'll always take ownership of it, man. I've always been like that. And I think like it's the way a business, anything needs to be treated. Anything needs to be treated because you can't just always be butting heads on something because you're just never going to move forward. And you're also never going to grow. So like you can learn things from mistakes that are made as well. And we're always applying different iterations, trying to fix things, move things forward, all the rest of it. Because all you can do is become as hyper efficient as you can and be the best version that you can be as well. But you can't, you're just never going to not, the boutique guy, I guarantee you, will still stuff something up at some point. But he's probably gonna be so stressed being by himself that he ain't gonna take ownership of it. He's probably gonna blow up, because I know what I was like when I was solo. You're just running like, you're trying to run everything. Mate. Exactly. Yeah. So it's, yeah, man, it's all part of growth. I think it's all part of doing it properly as well.
Nice one.
Taking ownership.
Mate, coming to the property market, I know we're right at this point where there's a few more rate cuts maybe expected for the year remaining. I mean, I look back at the start of the year for a lot of our investor clients, budgets around $450. We're getting into markets around that price mark. Now we're talking budgets like $600, $650 above freestanding. I was like, geez, that has moved so quickly in 6 months. Like literally breakneck speed about how quickly things have moved. And I just think I don't know if I'm in a bubble, but I'm like, we have got to be in this buying window right here, right now. Because if we get more rate cuts, and then by the time that demand is kind of filtering through, the confidence is starting to pick up. I mean, there's already talks about a recession coming, so that'll push some people out, but the people that want to buy are starting to get in, right? So I guess my question here is, where do you see we'll end up towards the end of the year if this is where we're halfway through the year, like such rapid acceleration on price growth?
I think the other thing to throw into the equation is first home buyers typically don't give a shit about supposed recessions and whatnot, right? They're just trying to get into the market. Yeah. And with what has just happened in the federal election as well, I think there's going to be a serious pressure on the bottom end of the market of first home buyers getting in, combined with rate cuts of people who, whether they're investors or first home buyers or whatever. I think it's a perfect storm. I remember at the start of last year, so start of 2024, I said to the team, I don't think there's going to be any markets left in Australia worth buying in sub $400,000 at the end of the year. We came into the start of this year and it pretty much held true. There was barely any. And any that were there were markets that we were maybe buying in at 250 to 300,000, 12 to 18 months earlier that were now at 450, 500,000. And I think like we look at areas like, even like, let's say like you've got most of Perth, a lot of Brizzy, Adelaide, you got, Toowoomba, Rockhampton, Townsville, Bundy, all these areas that 2-3 years ago you could buy easily in the 200,000s that are now $500,000 markets. And like, even the point of, we're saying before around, $450K budgets. Let's say it's $400,000 to $500,000 budget. If you could still buy in there, would it still actually be good investment? Because if it's already doubled or gone close to doubling, how much growth is left in the tank? And the realistic thing in terms of assessing that is affordability ratios. So some of those markets, yes, they still definitely have room to grow. But man, it's really understanding fundamentally if a market's gone from 250 or 300 to 500, 450, 500,000, does it actually still have growth left in the tank? And how much growth if it does? And, that's one piece of it. But then the other side of it, man, is like realistically right now, like assessing it, there aren't that many great markets call it sub 550K anymore. Like kind of the 550 plus is kind of where the next phase of locations that are probably going to be going through their growth cycle are starting. A lot of your regionals have now pushed into the $500,000. And again, we look back, like if they've seen almost 100% growth, how much more growth have they got left in the tank? So even though they're at that slightly more affordable price point, what does $550,000, $600,000 to $700,000 buy you that actually has left in the tank of growth? And I think that's what's really important to understand, and something that we went through a big shift internally, probably it was this year or late last year, probably heading into this year, understanding that was where we sort of had to start to pivot, which is very unusual for us. I was always a massive advocate of 250 to 350K properties. Like, man, we're buying in, Warnbro, Waikiki, Port Kennedy, Halls Head, all these parts of Perth, man, that were like, and even 20Ks from Brizzy CBD, 20Ks from Adelaide CBD. But I'm talking like 5 minutes to the beachfront, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 20-year-old homes 3-4 years ago, like late 2020, heading into pretty much all of 2021 as well, for like sub 300, sub 350K for that money that are now 750 grand. So it's like, that was my that was my focus for so long, because like I always knew if you could find those markets, when a market moves into a growth cycle, they would see exponential growth because of the price point they were and the value where they undoubtedly were going to head. But now, man, we've seen almost all of those markets in Australia gone through that cycle. Now that Adelaide, Brisbane, Perth have done their thing, it's moved past it, man. So now it's understanding, well, what's at that next price point now that has potentially stalled for a while, or just still affordability ratio wise still has that run left in the tank, combined with infrastructure project, population growth, supply constrictions, all that sort of stuff. Where is moving into the perfect storm that's potentially like a 600 or let's say 550 to 700,000 or 550 to 750k market that now has that room to have another wave of exponential growth, rather than just looking for where are the cheapest markets in Australia at the moment that have things going on that could drive them for growth. Because if you're not understanding the affordability metrics there, it could look like a good price point with good stuff going on, but what's the population, what's the actual demographic willing to pay for that style of property as well? So we're going through a huge shift, man. It literally is almost like a complete reset of the housing market at the moment, and the way that things have to be assessed. And we've obviously pivoted in because of that as well. But yeah, man, it's all part of it. It's also a big part of why we also brought in the commercial division.
Yeah.
So I saw this happening about 18 months ago. Again, like at the start of 24, I said that I don't believe there'll be any markets at that price point. I knew we were going to have issues with serviceability, and also have issues with access to stock at certain levels as well. So I was like, if we're going to have issues with serviceability, we need to build out this arm. It's going to continue to produce cash flow. I knew that yields were going to start to plummet because we're going to see this growth. Rental growth never really keeps pace, even though we have had some good run. It never really keeps pace with the actual price growth. So then it's like, I knew we need to build that arm in, which took me probably 12 months to build properly, which would then also be able to have clients sell out of these deals that they paid 300 for, they're selling for 700, walk out with, 350, 400 grand cash, or if they had two of them, walk out with, more, and then be able to roll that into maybe another one or two bread and butters, combined with a nice big deposit for a nice juicy commercial deal as well, to then pump the cash flow and have it immediately, rather than having a 12-month build time frame. Have that almost immediately to be able to keep pumping the portfolio forward.
Yeah, nice one. I think what happens is you get to this point where you've been around for a while. It's pattern recognition. That's what we're telling people.
It's what, sorry?
It's like pattern recognition.
Yeah.
So rates are coming down, borrowing capacity is going up, demand's not, your supply's not there, but demand's pent up. And it's like, guys, get in. This is the buying window. We've been a few. That's what beauty, having a few cycles under your belt now. Just going. I think this. Yeah, the horse hasn't bolted yet, but it will later this year.
Yeah.
Once confidence catches up. I'm telling everyone, and they're they're living in their spreadsheets, going, but it's not neutral till 4 years time. I was like, man, in 4 years time, you've missed the boat, mate. What are you waiting for this? It's never going to be neutrally geared right now.
I mean, if something cost you 10 grand a year to hold right now, but it went up $100,000, would you really care about the 10 grand that it cost you? It's a 10x return on cost. You know what I mean? On that annual hold
Preaching
cost.
to convert it. Hopefully everyone's listening, taking that on. But these are hard for us. I think we're so. I don't know if we're so close or that EQ's a bit lower. But I'm like, what are you living this spreadsheet for, my friend? It's static. The market's moving with or without you. Yeah.
Where's that Northern Star? What's going to keep you moving
How do you
forward?
handle these conversations? I mean, you guys will get this all the time. I've seen it. Clients reaching out to you going, but APS, it's not neutral. It's not cash flow. I'm reading the cash flow.
Yeah, we're always preempting it, man. I think at the end of the day, it's cash flows right now, they're not where people. Okay, the biggest issue with this is so many investors only came in the last 2, 3, 4 years. So they only let's say the 3 to 5 year window rather than the last 2 years, because they started going up in 22.
Yeah.
The last 3 to 5 years, in that 3 to 5 year window in COVID, a lot of people got started in investing, and they got started and they got used to interest rates at 2 to 3%. For us, who've been investing for the 10 years before that, we're used to 5 to 7% interest rates. First loan I ever took out in 2009 was 7.19%. I'm getting interest rates lower than that today now, even though interest rates are high. Then they slowly came down. They were sitting in this low sixes. Then we're getting rates in the 5s and the 4s and everything. And then obviously COVID, they did a massive cut. But in reality, man, we're just at a status quo. what people got to remember is a growth property isn't in there for cash flow anyway. So as long as you buy the right asset that's going to produce for you from a growth perspective, the cash flow doesn't matter. Yes, we don't want to hold something that's absolutely bleeding us. Like the idea of this blue chip bullshit, and you're buying a blue chip area and you hold it forever. Well, if it's costing you 20, 30, 50 grand a year a hold and it's not growing and you got to wait for its next cycle to come around, by the time the next cycle comes around, you might be 200 grand down. I'm not talking about buying an asset like that. I'm talking about buying in the correct growth location, timing the correct market. And if it costs you 10, 15 grand a year to hold or whatever, but it's doing 80, 100, $100,000 plus worth of growth a year, which if you buy in the right market, it will, then man, the cost versus return analysis, that's all you got to look at. Don't look at the net cash flow. Or if you look at the net cash flow, assess the net cash flow against the net gain. You know, and I know capital gains is not something that's guaranteed, but if you're buying a growth property, that's what it's in the portfolio for.
Correct.
We're not buying a property in a growth location for cash flow. That's not what it's in the portfolio for. It's in the portfolio to be able to leverage, be able to restrip equity to buy another one or carry it through the cycle, sell it down at the peak, clear the debt, then use a profit to either buy a cash flow deal or pay down a cash flow deal or something like that, or keep building the portfolio. So I definitely copped a lot of this probably like 12 to 24 months ago. I don't cop it anymore because I did so many podcasts on it, just saying like, if this is all you focus on, like
I need to pull those off the shelf and start giving it to people and start serving us up these questions.
Well,
so I'm like, just get over it.
Dude,
you know?
The thing is, it's just like interest rates are where they are right now. Are you in the game to be 2-3 grand a year in front, 2-3 grand a year behind, or let's say 5 or 10 grand either way? That's not what's going to make you wealthy. It's the growth that will come through. That's what makes you wealthy. And treating your portfolio like a business. So when the cycle's done its dash and the cycle's finished, you sell the property off, you move forward. We don't hold property forever because people, they do that. And let's say the property is costing them 10, 15 grand a year to hold, but it doubles in value and goes from 500 grand to $1 million. But then they hold it for the next growth cycle because you hold for 2 cycles, right? Because that's what you do in Australia, which is a load of shit. And then by the time the next cycle starts, you're already 150 grand behind the 8 ball, not including maintenance, not including the 10 years worth of headaches. Inflation has eaten away half of your profit. And then you start the cycle again. So if inflation's eaten away half your profit and it's cost you 150 grand a year hold, and how about the head tax? You're probably at break even by the time the next cycle starts. Yeah. So this is why, you have to treat it like a business. A growth property is in the portfolio for growth. Sell it off at the top of a cycle, move on. It's as simple as that, man.
Awesome.
Sorry, dude. I got fired up.
I poked the bear. I finally got the veins.
You got in the shark cage.
But this is what happens when there's conviction. Yeah. Same thing. When there's true conviction and you stand by that, that's hard to come by these days. It's like, all right, mate, we'll find something for you. It's going to tick a box and we'll get you into this. It's like, no, man. Like, you know what you're doing. We know what we're doing. Yep, no one can conjure up this cash flow where it's going to be cash flow neutral from day one. You either like it, you leave it. I don't know, take your pick, but don't complain in 5 to 10 years' time that you missed the market again. Yeah. Just because you weren't happy to take a little bit of a hit and have negative cash flow. And I can guarantee if I look through your bank statements and your budget, I'd find that money from somewhere.
Yeah, we can trim that from somewhere else.
I guarantee you, and it's an uncomfortable conversation if people say that. I can say it because I've done it. I've literally gone through my business and my home budgets, and I'm like, gone. Let's find the cash to make this happen.
I know you would do that at 99 out of 100 clients. It'll probably be 999 out of 1,000 clients, and you would be able to pull $5 grand a year easy from all of them. There's probably that one anomaly that lives like the biggest tight ass like I did when I was 19, 20 building it. You know what I mean? Like you would have struggled to find something with me at that time. But man, get to fast forward to probably 25, 26, even though I was scaling hard, you could just get a little bit looser, right?
Yeah.
But man, 100%. There'd be something that someone would be able to chop. I think it depends. What's the most important thing to you? You know, and this is where, people have to really focus on. Set that North Star that you're chasing, and then you have to commit to it, man. It's as simple as that. Because it's funny with what you said before, just to dive back 1 sec about like, you feel like this is that window. I agree with you because I would always say there's somewhere to invest, but I definitely believe like it is shrinking the markets that are worth putting money into. I've always been able to see next. I know what we're going to go from here to here to here to here to here. I've always forecasted it and moved it around and done it very, very well. And I can tell you it's getting harder and harder. And I don't say done very well from an egotistical perspective. I say done very well because I've been doing it for a long time and I've seen the results, right? Yeah. But it is definitely getting a lot harder, and we're having to look a lot more broadly at it, and taking a lot of different things into account, and almost like rewinding some forecasting as well from where we see different markets and what they're going to produce. And dude, I agree with you completely. You know, gone are the days of where it's just like, oh, it's all good. I'll do it in a year or two. Or I'll just buy one property and wait and just see what happens, sort of thing. It's if you've got the ability to do it, you 100% should be pulling the trigger and moving forward, and not hyperfixating on something like, $4,000 a year, negative cash flow or whatever it is. It's all part of the journey, man. It's all part of the business.
Beautiful.
The business of a portfolio.
I love it. Sammy, thanks very much, man. I really appreciate it. I know I got you going there. I feel like we're just getting started there. We'll get you back in.
It's good.
But I know you guys have said, look, books are shut.
I don't know when this is getting dropped. The books are shut as of the start of June. It's been shut for a few months now. Yeah. But we're just about to reopen them for that trickle of people that we think are going to be good fits for us as well.
So when you say good fit, so people I know people are banging on the door going, how do we get in? What does a good fit look like? And then what can people do? Because I know you're not here to farm or fish. You're not here for business because you guys are full already. But what does someone do in order to get in line?
Man, to be dead honest, dude, we want people that want to work with us. Like, I think this is the biggest thing, man. Like, we look at it as such a cohesive relationship between a BA and a client, because we know if we do a great job for you, you're going to come back and do another deal and refer friends as well. So that's the way that we always look at it. And so people coming through like almost wanting to butt heads, like, oh, well, have a debate with you or whatever. It's like, dude, we're not a fit, man. Go find the dude that wants to have a fight with you about why he needs to use a BA. Like, we want people that come in, they know they need to use a BA, they want to use APS, they've heard great things, they love the way that we operate. And man, like it's a funny thing to say, people that trust us, but like, man, every single one of our deals goes through a 3-person valuation process before a client ever even gets assigned to the deal. You know what I mean? So like the amount of stringent processes that every deal has to go through before it ever gets assigned to a client. It sounds weird to say that we want it we just expect clients to trust us on that front, but like I've built it like that because I got burned when I was 26, and I would never want a 26-year-old making $70,000 a year to come through and got burned on a deal. If anyone ever did that, like I would just refund them the BA fee. Yeah. Because like that's my name and that's and I don't sleep at night if something's blown up like that. You know what I mean? Sure. And so, man, it goes through every single step of one of these processes to make sure that people win. And so then that's why, like, we want people that come on, they want to trust us, they want to build a portfolio with us, they want to just build a relationship. I don't want I said this before, I don't want tick and flicks, I don't want to just do a deal for someone. We're not the BA for you if you just want to do a deal. But if you want to build a 10 property portfolio in the next 4, 5, 7 years, whatever it is, or work towards a goal of retiring yourself, then they're the people we want to work with, and just good people. Like everyone's typically pretty aware if they're a fucking punish. If you're a punish, don't call APS. I don't want to deal with this. There's 1,000 other BAs that need the business, that want the business, that are willing to put up with it. We're not. We want to work with good people that want to work with good people, and have a mad cohesive relationship, man. And like, be able to have success stories, be able to have them on the podcast, and like, man, like see the passion in their eyes of what you've been able to create for them and build for their future. They're the people we want to work with, man, And I think this is, again, why we've never advertised, because we've had so many people that come to the ecosystem like that. And if someone's happy, man, or if they, they don't think it's a fit or whatever, we don't think it's a fit, move them on, whether it's before a deal, after a deal, whatever it is. But yeah, we just want to work with good people, man, and build great portfolios. That's all it is.
I absolutely agree. I think that's where I see that commonality, which is they come in, they're so subscribed to the methodology, they're so subscribed to like the philosophy, the way that I guess you have that conviction in you as well. It's like, we just want more of that. And it's hard to clone. There's only one in Sammy. I know you got the great team there as well, but it's like there's only so much that you guys can deliver, and it's I think I said to you,
1,000% it's a team as well, man. Because like the team, it's all culturally, it's amazing, because like we've built so many people that like think the same way as close as they can. I know I've got a bit of a different level or way of delivering things, but man, they all believe it. They're all bought into it as well. So yeah, 1,000,000% I couldn't do it without the team that's behind me as well. They're all legends.
Well done. Hey, mate, thanks very much for your time. Always generous, mate. Appreciate it. Onwards and upwards, man. Congrats on your new home. I want to see what it looks like.
Thanks,
I'm assuming they're listening.
Mate, next time you come up, man, I'll bring you around. But no, man, it's always an absolute pleasure jumping on, joining you, and sharing a bit of information with the guests as well. So thank you.
I appreciate it. If you're interested in talking to APS and the team there, just drop us a line. I mean, we love working with the team there. I've seen the results. Yeah, I think everyone knows that I've bought through APS as well. So if it's good enough for my team, my family, myself, I say, look, tick of approval because I'll put my money where my mouth is as well. So kudos to you, Sammy. That's a wrap for another episode. Like I say, if you're on the journey, your partner's on the journey, your friends are on the journey, mate, share the episode. The ripple effect gets bigger and bigger every time you guys are sharing these episodes as well. So love you guys tuning in. Talk to you soon.